Anyone can explain the mechanism of hail formation? Okay, suddenly to sub-0 degrees Celsius. Okay, if air mass rises suddenly sub-0 degrees Celsius, it everything is correct, but one very important component is missing. The air masses rise. Okay, rapidly rising air mass, reaching sub-0 degrees Celsius, high altitude. Okay, cloud crystal, and one very important component you missing. High moisture content air should rise at high altitude. The air should have high moisture content. Not all the air masses which reach sub-0 degrees Celsius will form hails. It should have more amount of moisture content. It will release at sub-0 degrees Celsius to form a bigger ice crystals. They started to fall on the ground, and when it reaches as a solid form, it's considered to be as hail. Okay, not all the wind system which reaches sub-0 degrees Celsius will form hailstone. It should have a high amount of moisture content. That moisture will be released into the sub-0 degrees Celsius temperature. Then it will form a hail. There are two conditions. Number one, it should be high moisture content and sudden rise of air. That these two will reach the position of sub-0 degrees Celsius at a high altitude. It is to form hailstone, right? So first condition is to have a high moisture content. This is the very first thing. High moisture content, and second is rapid rising of air. Third one reaches sub-0 degrees Celsius saturation. Okay, reaches sub-0 degrees Celsius saturation. So all these three conditions, these are the conditions of hail formation. These are the conditions of hail formation. Okay, if you go to the latitudinal distribution of hail, in India, we rarely experiences hail. Why? It's a tropical region. They have a high amount of temperature on the ground. The air mass has to rise very high altitude. It may be around 5 or 6 kilometers to reach the sub-0 degrees Celsius, and it forms a hail in the top. When it started to fall on the ground, it evaporates, melts, and it becomes a water drop and reaches the ground. It becomes a rain, or it may be sleet. Yeah. So for when we go to pictorial representation, you can take a 40 degrees Celsius here. You can take a 30 gram of water vapor. Just imagine if a 40 degrees Celsius, how long it should rises to reach sub-0 degrees Celsius, at least per kilometer 6.5. When it will become 0 degrees Celsius? 7 kilometers, almost 7 kilometers. Okay. When it reaches almost above 6 kilometers, then it's possible to have sub-0 degrees Celsius. So from 6 kilometers, the ice crystal has to fall towards the ground, again traveling another 6 kilometers. Possibly it never reaches the ground as a ice crystal. Obviously it will melt away, it will become a raindrops. This is very rare possibility. Suppose temperature goes 30 degrees Celsius, then it may reach up to 4 kilometers to 4 or 5 kilometers. Then possibly it travels towards the ground. Possibly they become a sleet. It will be rain, it will be a sleet. So when air mass reaches sub-0 degrees Celsius, it's a lower altitude. It may be around 1.5 kilometers or maybe 2 kilometers. When it is possible? When the ground temperature is maybe around 15 degrees Celsius. It is possible when it reaches around 2 kilometers, it may reaches 0 degrees Celsius, again fall on the ground. Okay, so condition where the ground is having a low temperature and the air has high moisture content. When it rises at lower altitude, it reaches 0 degrees Celsius saturation and it started to fall on the ground as a hail. So when we have a low altitude 0 degrees saturation with rapid rising air, it is possible to have the pure form of a hail. That's called hailstorm. Okay, you will get a hail. So we can say this is equatorial region, this is tropical region. Okay, equatorial, tropical, and this is not polar, this is temperate. So in temperate countries, it is possible to experience frequent hail, not a sleet, even just as a pure form of a hail alone, just dropping of ice crystals. Okay, the hail. It is possible in the temperate countries. What are the temperate countries? The countries are located between 30 to 60 degrees of latitude. So these are the areas. You can take, these are the areas where you can take China, Russia, European countries, USA. So all these countries possible to have hail, frequent hail.